Okay, so we're gonna ignore the lighting and this whole situation, and hopefully the sound isn't too bad. But I'm doing a Q&A because I asked on Instagram if you'd rather have ASMR or Q&A, and you asked for a Q&A. So I got more questions. It took like 4 days. So if you guys want me to do Q&As, like, please ask the questions. I'm happy to answer them. You can leave them here if you want to. So I have quite a few questions. We're gonna go from the newest to the oldest because that's how they're in my photo thing. So the first question is, would you dress any differently if men didn't exist? I think that's a pretty interesting question, and my initial response was no, because I don't dress for men, I dress for myself. I mean, it's one thing when you're in a relationship, like, if my boyfriend thinks, maybe, if my boyfriend thinks I look good in something and he, like, really likes me in this certain dress, like, maybe I'll wear it more, but, like, in general, no, I don't dress for men. But with that being said, I think all women would dress differently if men didn't exist. I mean, it's one thing if they like fell off the face of the earth tomorrow, and it's another thing if they never existed, you know, like that's a pretty in-depth question in that sense, because we all dress in a sense for the patriarchy because that's how we were raised and that's how the world still is. You know, women only really started wearing pants regularly however many years ago, you know, like that was a part of inequality and sexism. And, you know, there's still plenty of things like the fact that women don't have appropriate pockets or fake pockets, like all that kind of stuff, and bras, and that it's like not acceptable for a woman not to wear a bra. Like it's not professional if a woman doesn't wear a bra. Like it's there's a lot of things I think that if men didn't exist, women wouldn't wear or would wear. But I think it's also even women, like you see in schools, like a lot of the people who, you know, tell girls you can't wear tank tops or short shorts or something, like those are women because they were raised in that, you know, realm too, and that's what they believe, and they, you know, they believe it's distracting to boys, like, and it's not about, you know, what's comfortable for a girl. You know, I think a lot of things would be different. But personally, like just right now, if men didn't exist, like I wouldn't change how I dressed. Next is, do you think it's a good thing that celebrities address political issues? And yes, I know a lot of people would probably disagree with me, but I don't necessarily think that all celebrities should be involved in politics. I know a lot of people would say stay in your lane, but politics affects everyone, whether you're rich or not, you know, it affects you if you care about other people. Politics has affected the outcome of the pandemic. It has affected, you know, that things are getting bad again. If you look at the statistics, like the amount of Biden supporters that have gotten the vaccine versus Trump supporters, it's astonishing. I mean, it's not astonishing, but I mean, it's definitely political, and these things affect everyone. So yes, I think that it's okay for celebrities to give their opinions on political topics. I think it's helpful. I think, you know, the more opinions out there, the better. Like, yes, sometimes it's saturated, but I think, you know, this might sound stupid, but I think, you know, if someone believes a certain thing or just isn't educated or hasn't heard something a certain way or hasn't even been open to listening, maybe their favorite celebrity says something and they might see it a little bit differently. They might hear their story and, you know, hear something in a different way. And that's all it takes sometimes. Like, yes, most people won't change their political views or stances or even look at things from another perspective because of, you know, stubbornness or pigheadedness or whatever it is. But if you hear your favorite celebrity say something, like that might be what you need to get a different perspective, or at least open your mind a little bit. So yeah, for the most part, I don't think it's a bad idea. I think if it's an uneducated, like unfactual like thing, then yes, they shouldn't be sharing it. Like Tom Hanks' son, for instance, he's been sharing a lot of anti-vax stuff. I don't think that's acceptable. That's completely, like, not just against science, but it's like false information. They're spreading false information, and that's very harmful. But I think if you're sharing your opinions, if you're sharing not an agenda necessarily, but just, you know, reminding people to vote, things like that, like that's perfectly fine. I think that's great, honestly, if it can help people make a difference. Next, your favorite children's book. It depends what that means. My favorite book I read as a kid was Tuck Everlasting, but my favorite children's book could be a lot of different things. There was one, I can't remember what it's called, but it was about like a little girl, and there's like a witch living under the stairs in her basement, and I remember that book freaked me out because I always used to like run up the basement stairs, and I used to think there was like a witch under my stairs. And then there was another one where this girl was like obsessed with the girl, like another girl in her school, and then she started doing her hair like her and dressing like her and speaking like her. And I don't remember what either one of these were called, but I remember really enjoying them as a kid. Future kitten names and their meanings. So I think I said this before in a video. I have a list of like animal names, like pet names in general, not like specifically for cats, but some of the ones I have here, they don't really have any meanings, I just like them. So I have Buffy, Cat, Freya, Henry, Kit, well that would be from Charmed, Cassie, Poppy, Alfie, Milo, Betty, Biggie, Hank, and Clarence. I think Hank is such a cute cat name. But other than one from Charmed, they don't really have meanings. What's your dream home decor? Not this. I guess you shall see next year when I get into a house with my boyfriend. We'll hopefully be, you know, designing it the way we want to. But if you can check out my Pinterest, see my dream home decor, but it's mostly like not necessarily, like I say mid-century modern is kind of like the common descriptor, but I also like vintage. Like I like a lot of vintage pieces. So yes, mid-century modern, but not necessarily the modern part, like just the mid-century part. Like if I could pluck a house out of like the 70s, that would be totally fine. But I also kind of do like little things from the 80s, lots of wood, warm wood, and I just prefer vintage items. Like when I go to like a Raymore and Flanagan, there's like two things I like. You know, I'm not into contemporary or a lot of things that like are very common that you normally see. Like, yeah, you might go into a staged house and think it looks nice, but like a lot of those things to me give like hotel vibes, and it is nice, there's nothing wrong with it, but like my personal style is just a lot more like green velvet and you know, rich warm colors, things like that. Next, what is your favorite meme of all time? Literally, there's so many. I honestly don't even. Least favorite movie. Oh, come on. There's so many. There's so many. Like, that's not even a fair question. You could always check out all my movie and TV review videos to hear more about that, but like, there's just so many, and like, there are probably ones like I didn't finish, like ones that like I started watching and I was like, I can't even make it through this. So would you ever dye your hair darker or lighter again? I don't know. Like, to be honest, like some days I'll look in the mirror and I'm like, my hair looks weird. Like even in the viewfinder right now, it looks weird. Like this isn't what my hair looks like. And some like different lightings, I'm like, oh, my hair looks good in that lighting. And then other times I'm like, what is happening? So like sometimes I do wish my hair was darker. Like sometimes I feel like my roots are darker than the rest of my hair, even though I haven't dyed my hair in years. And like I'm like wish that my hair was darker sometimes, because it's just like a weird hue. Like sometimes it can look really yellowy and brassy, and then other times it just looks brown, and then in some like in sunlight it'll look more blonde. Like I don't know. I feel like yes, part of me would just like to go like a more neutral, darker brown and like be done with it, but like I just wish it was permanent. Like the reason I haven't been dyeing my hair is because I don't want the upkeep. That's essentially it. Favorite celebrity and least favorite celebrity. Okay. I have a lot of least favorite celebrities, like you can guess one used to be the president. I also don't like Anne Hathaway. I just don't. Just not my vibe. I don't like her. There's nothing like personal against her that I like don't like. I just don't like her vibe. I don't think she's a good actress. Shailene Woodley, same thing. I don't think she's a good actress. I've also heard her speak in interviews and I'm not a fan. Another person would be Katy Perry. Like I'm not a fan of her music or anything, but like when you hear her speak, like I don't know, I just don't like her vibe. There's like certain celebrities, it's just like if I met them in person, I'd be like kind of turned off whether they were a celebrity or not. And those are the three that give me that vibe, and there's plenty more, but those are just like the top three I can think of right now. Breakup advice. There's just so many things. Like that's such a broad question because like it really depends how the breakup happened, like whose choice it was, if it was mutual or not, how long you've been together, what was the breakup about, you know, was it because you're moving and it was just the best decision, or did someone cheat, like, you know, was there a fight? Like there's so many different things that you have to get over and kind of deal with and analyze, but like that's why I would recommend, like, I have my link below for the dating articles, the dating advice articles I write. So if you just like type into Google lovepinky.com and then Samantha Ann and then whatever the question is, or like keywords, you can find the things I've written. But some like broad advice would be to stay busy when you go through a breakup. Obviously you need time to mourn, but if that's over 3 days, I would say just get yourself up, force yourself up. You know, you deserve to mourn, and you know, you're gonna miss them, you're gonna miss the good times, but get yourself up, stay busy. Don't try to fill your time with things that don't matter. Don't try to go and get a rebound. You know, stay busy, hang out with your friends, accomplish a project, take on a new project. You know, go out and do things so that you're not constantly thinking about what went wrong. If you find yourself missing them and you like want to text them or call them, you have to try to remind yourself of like why you broke up in the first place. Almost everyone I know who's ever broken up and got back together, they shouldn't have got back together. When you break up, there's a reason you broke up. So kind of remind yourself of that. Yes, there's always going to be good times, but after a breakup, people tend to kind of glorify the good times and like ignore the bad times. But there's a reason you broke up, so remind yourself of that. Also, if you have to, block them. Like, I know people think it's petty, but it's not. I would say you don't have to go and like delete all your pictures with them or anything. You can archive them if you want. But block them if you have to, honestly. Like, on social media, maybe don't block them, but you can like hide their posts. And then if you have to, if they're calling you or texting you, block them, like even temporarily. I don't want you to seem, I know a lot of people would say that that is immature, but I think it's the opposite. I think to really get on with your life after a breakup, you have to take time away from them. Like, even if you want to be friends down the line, or you're friends in a group or something, you have to take some time apart to really mourn the loss of the relationship before redoing like a friendship or acquaintanceship or whatever. Because if you don't and you just keep talking, you're not going to miss them, and you're not going to go through that like, you know, sad period, and you're not going to actually go through with it, and it's going to be hard to get over them. So those are like my top tips. Also, don't complain too much. Like, it's great to vent to your friends and have people to talk to, but once you find yourself repeating what you're saying, you're just kind of living with it and like dwelling on everything. If your friends seem to get annoyed or like don't want to hear about it or change the subject, it's because you're repeating yourself and over talking about it. So try to not do that. If you notice that happening, maybe it's time to go to therapy to really talk to someone who can kind of help you retrain your thoughts. Because as amazing as friends are going through a breakup, they can't help in the way that a therapist can. But just try not to dwell. It was part of your life. That chapter is over, and you have so much going forward. So my friend asked me this question. She said, guess the birthday. Her due date for her baby is September 30th, and she thinks the baby's gonna come on the 23rd. I think the baby's gonna come on the 27th, because that's my birthday. And if we have the same birthday, that would be super fun, because I would never forget her baby's birthday. What is your holy grail skincare product and hair product? Okay, hair product is super complicated at the moment because I, got perm, and like it's super complicated and my hair is like a whole new world. I love Kristen S, and I really do. I love Kristen S products. I love the smell of them. I love them, like they're fantastic. But just with the way my hair is right now, because I've just been switching and like I'm still trying to get my groove in with this hair, I'm gonna actually have to go with a dry shampoo, and that is from SGX NYC. I'll put a picture of it here. It just smells the best, it works the best. I'm absolutely obsessed with it. It's more mid-range pricing. It's definitely not like $20, it's more like $8, I think, but it's so worth it. Like, it's the best one ever. And then skincare product. Sorry, I'm like looking at my collection. I really do love the Curology treatment I'm using, like the prescription, but I feel like that's going to be different for everyone. It's obviously not going to work the same for everyone. So honestly, I'd have to say the Paula's Choice BHA exfoliant, whether it's the liquid or the gel or whatever. It's just the best way to like maintain like a smoother complexion, help with pores, acne. Like, it's not going to be your like, whoa, spot treatment kind of thing, but it just makes a difference, like for an everyday product, and it's fantastic. It doesn't irritate me, and that was what really helped clear up my skin when it was at its worst. Another one, a opinion on this season of The Bachelorette. Okay, so this could be a whole video in and of itself. I love Katie. I was super happy to see her this season. I think that she was like the perfectly imperfect Bachelorette. You know, like she made her choices and maybe they weren't always the best, but she owned it like the whole time. To be honest, I really did think she was going to end up with Blake, so I'm happy she did. I think a lot of people are saying it's her third choice. I would disagree, to be honest. I think from the second he walked in and they met, there was something different about him. She had a connection with him that there was really not with anyone else. As much as like her and Greg connected, like I honestly, from the first thing she said about him, if you remember on the first night when he walked out, she said he reminds me of my ex, and that's what made me say as much as I thought he was the cutest of all the guys, and he's from like right down the street from me, I knew she wasn't going to end up with him because of that. I think that she did probably go for him because he reminded her of her ex, and then during their big blow up, it reminded her that she didn't want that. You know, she begged him, and I think part of her was hoping that he would be there at the end and that's who she would pick, but I think deep down she really knew that he wasn't right for her. He wasn't ready for a relationship, like whether it's about his dad or not, like he is not ready for a relationship. And I don't think he's a bad guy. I don't think that he was purposely gaslighting her and trying to control her or make her think that she was crazy or like make her rethink the whole scenario. I think that he is just not prepared for a relationship, and the second he thought that she didn't feel the same way, he broke things off before she could. He had to leave before she could hurt him. And, you know, he had to kind of blame her for it. So I just think he's not ready for a relationship. You know, he could be a great friend, this and that, but that's just what I think. I think that, like many seasons in the past, it seemed like to a lot of people that she would pick Blake, like as a third choice or something. But honestly, I disagree with that. And I also think, look at the past, look at Desiree. That whatever, I don't remember his name, but like the guy was front runner the whole time. There's 2 people left and he left. He chose to leave. He was like, yeah, I don't want to get married. So she picked the guy. Everyone was like, why is he still here? He's writing her poems. He's so dorky. They're happily married with 2 kids. And then we look at Rachel Lindsay, the most horrifyingly sad breakup in history, in my opinion, with Peter, because he wasn't ready to get engaged. And then she got engaged the next day. Literally, like she was so upset when Peter left. And it was pretty much like she was saying, I do love you, you are my first choice, but because you don't want to get engaged, I'm going to go with someone else. And she did, and now they're happily married too. So like, you know, I think that she's happy, and I really hope that Katie and Blake make it work, because honestly, if you look at the situation and look at the season and the guys of the season, there are a lot of good guys. I do think that this season had some of the best guys we've seen in a while. So I do think there was a lot of great guys, but honestly, like no one clicked with her like Blake. Like they have the same sense of humor, and I think that he really supports her, and he is the type of person that's confident enough to be with someone like her. You know, Greg from day one was so shocked that he got the first impression rose, and like I don't think the whole acting thing was true. I think that when she yelled at him after the final rose, I think a lot of that was fresh. Yes, she could be happily engaged and still be mad at her ex. Like those feelings don't just go away. And yes, she said that, but I think that was necessarily like that was to hurt him. And because yes, she was happy with Blake, but like those feelings don't just go away. Like this situation is not something anyone else can really understand. No viewer can understand that. Like, yes, from the outside perspective, like even for me, I was like, if you're happily engaged, why are you getting so upset? But to be honest, like how long ago did she really break up with Greg? And they never got any closure, and she never got to share all these feelings with him, and she didn't know about the acting, which is something I find odd though, to be honest. Like you think if you're gonna get engaged with someone in 2 weeks, like you might want to know what they went to school for. But I think she found out a lot of stuff after the fact, and it just really hurt her, regardless of if she's happy or not. Like, yes, for me, I would think whatever happened in my past, no matter how much it hurt, if I'm with the person I'm supposed to be with now, that doesn't matter. But not everyone's going to be that way. So I think it was handled well. I think that Katie and Blake are a great match. I hope they really make it. I think they just have so much in common, and not in a bad way. I think they're both very independent people, and I think that they make each other happy and they make each other laugh. He was much more mature and like confident in himself than Greg. I was surprised to find out that Greg had tried to be on the show since Hannah B. From how shy he seemed, you'd imagine that someone else signed him up. But Blake, like the fact that he would put himself through this again just to meet Katie, like you knew that he already had some kind of feeling. Like you knew that he was willing to do that even if he's gonna look like an idiot. And I think that says a lot about him and how he is good for Katie. There's plenty of guys on the season I can't wait to see on Paradise. I'm super excited. There is Justin, who I think should be on Michelle's season. I think that he'll be great on Michelle's season. I hope he ends up on Michelle's season. I really hope that Andrew is the Bachelor. I loved Andrew. I thought he and Katie did have a really great connection, but I think that they have just really different vibes in a sense. So I would like to see him as the Bachelor. Michael, of course, is fantastic. And to be honest, I didn't see him with Katie. I just didn't. As much as I liked him, as much as I liked Katie, I just didn't see them together. So I hope he finds happiness, but I don't want him to have to go back on the show and, like, you know, put his son out there and have to, like, take time away from him. But yeah, so those are my general opinions. I stopped doing the videos just because people weren't watching them anymore, just so you know, my videos on The Bachelor. Okay, thoughts on your perm. Is it worth it? Okay, I've been going back and forth on this. Yes and no. So part of me, I'd say like 80%, I'm going to say no. I got my perm about 6 weeks ago, and it's already losing a lot of what it was. Like, from the first day to what it is now, like, it's already falling flat, and she was, like, encouraging me and telling me it's gonna last 10 months to a year. I thought 6 months. But when I asked her, I was like, okay, so I have a wedding in November, is it going to last that long? And she said yes, and I don't think it will. I also think that I did it thinking it would be easier than braiding my hair every night when it was wet, and just coming up with curly hair, and it's not. It's way more work. I have to really manage my shampooing days because I can't wash my hair as often. I have to use a lot more hydrating products, which then weigh down my roots. I wanted a lot more volume, so I wanted more of like a Julia Roberts 90s vibe, and I think she didn't want to overdo it, make it too curly, so it's more of a wave, and I definitely wanted something curlier. So part of me would be like, you know what, it is worth it, and I want to go back and get it done again, but like more curly. But at the same time, like, I don't know, like, I just feel like I can't be as versatile with my hair. Like, now it has to kind of be the way it is, and like, it's hard to keep up. Like, even if I go through it and style it and use like a diffuser, which I've only used a handful of times, like, I have to put so much product in it, and I have to wet it and like get it reshaped, and like, it's not easy. Like, honestly, it's not. A perm is not the same thing as what you think it is. Like, a perm is not like curling your hair and it stays curly for 2 days. Like, a perm is having curly hair. Like, it's, you wake up in the morning as if you naturally had curly hair. It's changing your hair texture. So when you hear women being like, oh, I wish my hair was straight, you have curly hair, like, and I always thought, how? You always have a nice style. Like, I've always had straight hair, so I always wanted curly hair. It really is, the grass is always greener. So honestly, I would not recommend it. It wasn't worth it to me, like, for the amount I paid. At first I was super shocked and I loved it, and like, it's not that I don't like how it looks or the woman didn't do a good job, it's just the fact of what a perm is. Like, I wasn't prepared for. Like, I did it to be low maintenance, and now I had to buy like so many new products, and like, it's just not low maintenance. Thoughts on the arguments anti-vaxxers are making. They can suck it and go, like, they can just suck it. It's so annoying to me. The kind of arguments that these people are making is like, oh, if your mask works, why should I have to wear one? Well, if my airbags work, does that mean I don't want, like, I would still, like, you drink and drive? Like, that doesn't even make sense. That doesn't even make sense. Plus, masks and vaccines aren't just for your own person, it's for everyone. Like, it's to help everyone. It's to help the kids under 12 who aren't eligible for the vaccine. It's to help immune compromised people who, yes, from the vaccine will still get COVID and can still have bad side effects from it. And then there's also the people who couldn't get the vaccine for a medical reason. Those people are all at risk. Not to mention the fact that the vaccine does not cure COVID. I don't think people know what a vaccine even really is. It does not cure COVID. It does not make you not get it. It makes your symptoms not as bad. It makes you not have to get hospitalized. It lowers your chance of dying. It doesn't mean you can't still carry it. It doesn't mean you can't still get other people sick. And those people who aren't getting vaccinated, they're the ones hurting themselves and other people, and it just makes absolutely no sense. It's just like against science. Like, my mom's a nurse, and there's people she works with who don't believe in getting it. Like, it just absolutely blows my mind, and it's insane. Like, and then there's people faking a vaccine card, like spending $400 for a fake vaccine card so they can travel and stuff, when you can get the vaccine for free. what are you doing? Like, it's just, it's infuriating, actually. A brighter, happier topic. Favorite baby clothes brands. Okay. This is hard. I feel like I really love what I see at Target and Old Navy, like how basic, but I just do feel like they're like affordable and cute. Anything over those prices, I just don't think it's worth it because babies grow so fast. But I would recommend checking out Etsy. I think that Etsy and small businesses are great brands to support. I think that those are the brands we want to be supporting right now. Their quality is usually amazing, their customer service is usually amazing, and they have really unique items you're not going to find anywhere else. So I would definitely recommend checking out Etsy and any other small businesses. I'm sure you can find a list of like small business baby clothes, things like that. But yeah, I do like Old Navy and Target for like the easy kind of stuff, like maybe onesies and things like that. But if you want like cute things or things that are gonna last long, like swaddles or things you really need to use for like a longer time, I would recommend small businesses. I think that those are always gonna be your best bet. Is that the first? I think that's the last question. Is it the last question? Let's just double check. Yeah, that was the last question. So I hope this Q&A is everything you imagined it would be and more. I'm sorry I look the way I look, but it's freaking hot out today. It's supposed to feel like 107, so we're just gonna excuse my appearance. And the lighting and all that good stuff. But I hope you enjoyed this Q&A. Make sure to leave questions down below for my next one. And I also want to let you guys know I have a couple partnerships coming up soon, so I'm super excited. Some sponsorships and just some regular, partnerships, collaborations and stuff. But I'm very excited about them and the products that I'm very, very, very excited to share with you. So look out for that. Make sure you're subscribed. Follow me on Instagram if you're not already, because that's where I ask for questions. So make sure you're following me there. And I will see you guys soon. Bye.